Yes, on with David Fincher's Dive. We're
Big
moving
Dave's
into
next movie.
the
Yeah.
2007's Zodiac. First time watch for I think only Joe, right? Everybody else has seen this one.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
cool. I've seen this one maybe I don't want to say 10 times, but it's probably been like 10 times. Yeah,
I've seen it quite a few too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
This was my
let me
second
ask
one
you
after
this.
7.
What? Well, I guess, did you do the intro? Like, are we in now?
We're in maybe.
Okay, my bad. You can edit that out, right? Anyway.
I'll stay in.
So what order did you guys watch, like this rewatch of Zodiac and the end of Barry? And did that, I don't know, because like for me, I watched Barry first, and like it was just like kind of interesting watching Zodiac after that, like I was saying earlier in this episode, where like, I don't know, like how much of this movie is actually like factually true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming a
apparently
lot,
a lot,
but like,
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't do any research on like the Zodiac killer. I should or could.
Don't you worry, Joe. I got that.
He's Noah's
But yeah,
Zodiac.
I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, shit.
I just thought it was interesting, and including like the movie that they made in the movie called Scorpio. Like I thought both were just like pretty. I don't know. It just like
That's Dirty Harry, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Scorpio.
Yeah. Or is that Scorpio's the movie?
I don't know. Oh, like I don't know. They had a movie playing in there. Like Mark Ruffalo was in the theater, and then Jake Gyllenhaal comes out and like talks to him. That's like when they're watching the movie. But maybe it was Dirty Harry.
I think it's Dirty Harry. Like that movie might actually be inspired by like the Zodiac killings or something. Or that's what I thought. But it's been a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it before I watched Barry though, but I didn't have any feelings you had because I know that what makes this movie pretty impactful to me and more enticing than most true crime shit is that I know David Fincher really cared about this case and dove into it on a level that most filmmakers or researchers wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just because he's so hyper intense about his stories and his visions. But so I just take it all face value, honestly. It's like that happened, so there's probably some blending of truth and stuff, but a lot of this movie, the horror and the engagement comes from like how actually true a lot of it is, but that's just me. So.
Yeah. I'm not saying I didn't like it either, because I
for sure.
I liked it a lot.
I hear you're saying,
like I just like it like made me think about it because I haven't done any research. Obviously, like you guys had all seen it.
Everything, Joe. Question.
I mean, yeah, like I don't know, like.
Well, I guess my question for you, Joe, is: was this an entertaining movie for you? Like, how did you like it?
Yeah, there were parts where like I was a little bored, but for the most part, I was engaged the whole time. I think like it was kind of weird because like. I guess like the overarching story is to like find out who the killer is and like characters come and go. I feel like that was like the only kind of like weird thing because like at a certain point Robert Downey Jr. was just like not in the movie anymore, and like that's cool. And like that is probably like because his character was no longer in the story.
Right.
And that's just because I'm assuming it was all like based on true events. That was like a little weird, I guess, and I'm not saying that was like bad.
Yeah. It's hard to track it.
And I guess like I think it was just like I don't know, like it was just a really long movie. I'm not saying I didn't lose interest because like by the end I was still engaged. But I think there were parts where I kind of like dipped in and out, I guess. But for the most part, I was like fully engaged for the whole movie. I liked it a lot. I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know.
What was your guys' rewatches? How'd they do?
I'm just as entertained. I mean, the case is super interesting. I like serial killers are just interesting. I'm more of like the cult serial killers. That's more my vibe, more my style, my speed. But this one's just as interesting.
The kind of killing happening.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I was like I said, the first time I ever watched it, I was super shocked in how much I just fucking loved it and was like. I was in the whole time, and it was just like so well. One of my favorite like movie scenes, like from all movies, is when Jake Gyllenhaal goes to the film man's house and goes down to his basement. And,
holy fuck! Dude.
Yeah, talk about tension. Like
you're sweating the whole time, and
pretty much just like from like the facts that you've like accrued over like time, like that the guy had to have had a basement, and you're just like, oh fuck,
exactly.
like
it just
brings up so many questions,
and you're just kind of like, oh my god, what's gonna fucking happen? And it's hard to do that with like just isolated scenes like that. There's a handful that are just like solid scenes in multiple movies, but yeah, this is one of them that just is like, God, very good. And that's how the whole movie
Yeah.
feels. It's just you're always on the edge of your seat, kind of like with the detectives, you know. So
And I
good
just
one.
like loved the vibe. Like it made
Yeah.
right off the bat. Like I don't know, like late '60s, early '70s. I feel like it's just like I
Yeah,
don't
it's a
know.
good pocket.
I feel
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a nostalgia. Like this movie, I think like a lot of the entertainment value I found. I mean, it's a great case, and it does like lead you there the whole time. But just having it in the '70s and '60s like makes it more entertaining. I don't know. And similar to what I've comments on The Social Network, it's like the setting that they've chosen is like almost it's like essential to the entertainment value of the movie almost. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's just true to life. It's like that was the heyday for most serial killers too. It was like '60s, '70s. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just a sweet spot for that too, I guess.
It also made me question like I wonder if the reason for that is just because of technological advancement or like
Like
people
serial
just
killing?
don't hear about the serial killers as much. Like
I think it's like a lot of
because
like
like the
movement
police
is
like
happening in the
technological
country.
advancement because
For
like
sure.
obviously
Yeah.
they don't have that much like technology to like incriminate these people. Like I
Right.
mean
Yeah.
they're
Goes in
just
like
grasping at
DNA
straws,
testing
like
and shit like
whatever the
that.
fuck. Yeah, the handwriting. I mean, like, are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me? Like, that's what you're going off of? Like, I don't know.
And
Like,
and like
that's
definitively
nowhere near incriminating. Like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So much circumstance.
Just like the technology that they had at that time, I feel like was just like nothing. Like I don't know.
frustrating.
They gotta like
Yeah.
see the guy murder somebody, like to fucking catch him. Like
Right.
In that same vein, and the Barry vein that you're comparing to is when that lawyer talks to Fugues, and he's like, with Fugues, is like, we have him on
yeah,
tape, and he's like, well, I could just deep fake, you know, or I could do this, and so I don't know. At this rate,
that is
it could
true.
go either way with the
Hmm.
technology that we have. You can get out of it, get away with murder, or you know,
Make
have
it work.
have a little bit more difficult time getting away with murder because everyone's got their phones open, recording everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I enjoyed this one just as much as every other time I've watched it, and yeah, I think it's because it's just like so concise. The timeline is there. You know, you're going through the years and like the info. You're there with the info as Gyllenhaal and the journalists are like kind of finding it, and it's just well crafted. The cinematography is like solid.
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
I guess this time my 11th watch wasn't as engaging as my 10th, my 1 through 10. I don't know. Maybe
Why
it's
do you think that is?
I think maybe I've seen it too many times, honestly, or it's like the turns are all there and I've already turned them 10 times now, so it's like 10 times.
You gotta slap some WD-40 on those knobs.
Grease those wheels, man. Yeah. Still very enjoyable. Still, yeah. What's up?
I was just gonna say, does that make it a bad movie, or is it just you just weren't in the mood for it this time around? Like, does it change your ratings just because this watch through you're just kind of like, you know?
Been there, done that.
Yeah. No, I was questioning that myself. Is like because I have it at 4.5 stars, and I almost want to drop it down to 4, but I don't think I should. Because the first 10 watch throughs were so like engaging every time.
Yeah, dude. I feel like
Um,
once you hit a point where you've watched it so many times, like if it starts to like if you start to lose interest, I think it's
It's
just
my
because you've
fault.
seen it too much. Like I don't
Correct.
think it's because it's a bad movie. Like
My point of like thinking it was as like not as powerful as I remember it was actually the basement scene, which the first time you watch that scene, it's like the intense feeling of like dread and come up like coalescence of story is intense. And when you watch it the 11th time, it's like I'm 2.5 hours into the movie. I don't know. It's like there's no tension left anymore in that one. Nothing. Because you don't have it anymore. And you know it's not real. You know that is just like kind of a misdirect in the story. You know? So it's like I just think I don't know. I struggle with like how great of a rewatch this movie is, even though I've rewatched it so many times. I don't know.
I think that with those scenes, those are hard to age. Like, I mean, you have the scene at Spawn Ranch in Once Upon a Time where you first time you watch it, you're like, holy fuck, you know, you're sweating. Are they going to kill Brad Pitt, right? Or in Glorious Bastards, the first scene, and the basement scene at the bar, you know.
Yeah.
And do those age well? I mean, you could say
Those
since you
two.
know what happened. I agree, those do, but with like I even think Spawn Ranch ages well. I love that fucking scene. But I get what you're saying. It's just hard for these to age because you know the outcome.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, being in the moment of it. I mean, I still find enjoyment in it, even knowing that it's a misdirect. It's the fact that, like, the thought of him being down there and what could have happened, you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the fact
Plus,
that
you're
he
just in that
narrowly
character's
got out.
mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're feeling his feelings for sure.
Like, I don't know. Do you think any of that too is because this is like borderline documentary and the other two things you described are not?
Sure.
That's a good
I
point.
I mean, like, I
thought
guess
about
in
that.
Glorious Bastards, kind of, but like, I mean, like, that scene is just pretty interesting in itself. I feel like just because of the acting and
Yeah.
stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
No, I compared
maybe.
it a little bit to Seven because it was like Seven's kind of a completely like fictional work, and this one's heavily based on real events. And I think they're both still like amazing movies. Like they
Yeah.
still hit a lot of the same like notes. But something about the fact that this one's like real, it like just like it's a knock above because it's like, oh fuck, like this happened in the 70s and
Right.
real people were affected and
What
So,
makes
go
it
ahead.
more effective as a true story, I think, is that the fact that they never caught him, so it's always you have that whole aspect of it to chew on yourself and think, well,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
out there, So
For sure.
I think that makes it more
Is
effective
Ted
for a
Cruz the
true
Zodiac
story.
killer?
Yeah. Right. So
Yeah.
rather than the outcome of this true story, like the Nike movie Air that came out, or like Blackberry, the outcome of those, those biopics. But this one is
Yeah.
just kind of like, I don't know. It's still sort of up in the air, I guess you could.
Yeah, they're like he's presenting all of the information that he's researched for you to make your own decision, basically.
Right.
And it's like it's very well done, and it's where it leaves you, I guess.
Yeah.
18 months of research, 10,000 documents. That's what Fincher went through. Like,
Really?
That's
crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a weird
I'll believe him.
spot for serial killers. I don't know. Fincher's got a weird like spot for serial killing. He's about to make a new one about a serial killer too. So like, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a good one. But if it follows,
Someday there will be a movie made about him being a serial killer, right?
I think he's making these movies in order to not kill people. Something's going on.
He's living vicariously through these characters.
Yeah, he's got to get all the darkness out
Fuck, dude.
somehow.
Yeah.
But, so I mean, if he's the guy to make this movie, and he did it right for sure.
Yeah. I have another question. I get this movie and Prisoners kind of go hand in hand. Great back-to-back watches there, I think. Jake Gyllenhaal smashes in both. But
Yeah.
just imagine what we could have had if Robert Downey Jr. didn't sign his life away to Marvel for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I was actually thinking like watching this. I don't know. I guess you could call it a good actor but like I would say Robert Downey Jr. to me kind of always plays like the same guy.
Yeah.
A little bit. I think
I like him. I like Robert. Like I feel, but like I'm like while I was watching this movie, I'm just like, wow, Robert Downey Jr. really isn't that different from like Nick Cage. Like Nick Cage just has like way more fucking movies. Like I don't know. Like I feel like Nick Cage pretty much plays the same guy in most of his movies. Like I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know.
Think,
hey, that's just like my opinion too. Like, you don't have to
No,
fucking believe that. I just
I guess
I don't know.
I think this movie was like even before Iron Man. It's like where
it was.
career
Yeah.
started
This
to
was
like
2007. I think Iron Man came out in 2008.
yeah, right.
From what I've read,
even
this is
before
like
that,
this is what got him the Iron Man part. Was
I
this
could
character.
see that. Yeah.
just brought him
maybe
back
that's
into acting.
that might just be why too, because he basically plays the same guy. I feel like.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, okay, I'm this character now. Maybe they wanted for Iron Man, and I think he kind of just like lumped into that persona a little bit. But that's just me.
I could see that.
Yeah.
We'll see how he is in Oppenheimer and see if he's the same character.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I just got like an email about it, playing with the music box when it comes out
I'm
for like that
excited
weekend.
for that
So
one,
I'll
man.
probably get some tickets and go.
Another note I made about why this movie is engaging throughout the whole film is that it has like an almost endless list of like side character credibility that it's giving to this film with the acting. I have a list, just a small list here of John Getz, John Terry, Brian Cox, Philip Baker Hall, Dermot Mulroney, Elias Koteas, and Jimmy Simpson.
Jimmy Simpsons.
That's secretly at the end there. Like, it's just like they're giving you the best of the best side character actors to like just keep you along the way, man.
Punch it up.
Yeah, I mean, you don't ever want to look away because everyone's so good in the movie.
You know, also, I was going to say, like, not really anything to do with the movie. The guy who plays Logan in Succession, I don't know his actual name. I'm assuming he's one of those people that you put in those. He said, because they're talking about his acting career while he's, like, about ready to interview the Zodiac Killer. And he says that he was on Star Trek, and he's like, oh, what did you play? And he said he played the Gorgon, like, or Gorgon or whatever. Like, do you guys know what that is?
No.
That's, like, the most iconic episode of like the original series. He's like that fucking green monster, like it's like a fucking green reptilian monster that, like I don't know.
And I guess that
my dad fucking loves Star Trek, so like, that's where
that's cool.
Yeah, so
did you guys I mean, I wrote, is this the best true crime movie of all time? What would you say? Like,
I would say probably.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen too many other ones, but
I guess like narrative too, because I mean, as much as this almost is like a docu-series feel, it is like a narrative feature, obviously. So like,
I would say this is probably the most successful.
Yeah,
I think it benefits too, like I said, just having such an open ending, you know, and you have to come to the conclusion of who is the Zodiac Killer, you know.
I mean,
but
it's Arthur Lee Allen, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's kind of obvious.
Yeah,
what could be that guy in the basement.
It's so frustrating too, because you know the guy had a heart attack, so like no one could truly know. It's just fucking.
Never really got any justice.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And that comment at the end, when Jake Gyllenhaal's character, like the real person, said that he stopped getting phone calls like after Arthur Lee Allen died. Like I think that's like
there's a lot of things that I mean, the speech that, or like the fishing talk that the guy like breaks the case on Arthur Lee Allen, where he's like saying, he basically gives his buddy the whole gist of what he's gonna do. You know, it's like, if that's legit and that's real, that is 100% Arthur Lee Allen then for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he basically said I mean, I don't know. It's hard to.
Also, too, when he's like running through, when Jake Gyllenhaal is like comes to Mark Ruffalo's character and they're like eating dinner and he's like running through the timeline.
Yeah, it just makes so much sense.
Like whoa, like
live across the street from the first girl getting married. Like, it's like they're. I had a friend named Lee. It's like,
went to prison for a couple of years. That's when there were no killings.
Letters,
like, you immediately get like more letters and like calls and stuff after. Like
The frustrating thing about the case for me overall too is like the handwriting sample is like the hinge point of like pursuing Arthur Lee Allen, I guess.
Right, and like what the fuck?
Definitively say it is not him at all, and we can't do anything. It's like that's the thing that stopped the investigation is like a left-handed handwriting sample. Like,
and dude, like the guy's ambidextrous, and I love how they threw in the other expert. Then he's like, this guy trained me, but then he has to say that like this is because like I mean I don't know I don't know.
Yeah, it's fresh. It's like clearly maybe that time they hadn't evolved like their thought process enough. You know? Like, that's what's.
I guess it just like shows like how much they were just grasping at straws too. Like
they listen to one qualified guy be like, man, you know, it's like, okay, shit.
Yeah.
Or like that they had to resort to a handwriting sample. I mean, like that they didn't have anything else to go on. Like I mean, because they have nothing else to work on for the case. Like I don't know. I just feel like. I don't know, dude. Like just getting a handwriting sample from somebody—that's like your proof. Like,
it's
and like the person knows that they're getting handwriting sampled. It's like, so wouldn't you switch slightly on your fucking writing shit?
And another interesting part of it was when Jake Gyllenhaal goes to talk to Robert Downey on his boat, and you know he says,
"Pong is playing in the back."
And Robert Downey says there's like X amount of people dying, and we're focusing on a guy that's killed a handful of people. And it's interesting because I mean, obviously that's probably what the killer wants. He wants the publicity, and I mean, we just give those people that. I mean, look at Charles Manson. He never truly killed anybody, but that's all we could talk about. You know, this Manson's this killer. I mean, sure, he brainwashed and drugs and all that good stuff. Potentially worked for the CIA, but you know. I got a great book to recommend if you're interested. Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting how we glorify all these serial killer.
Yeah.
That's what they want. It boosts their ego.
I was thinking about Dahmer, and I was like, that is a show that is completely the opposite of something like this, where it's like we're with people who are trying to figure this shit out, and like trying to like,
Not with the serial killer. I mean, we are in moments, but it's mostly like the survivors' experiences. So.
Yeah, and like you get all the sides of the people who are actually like somewhat affected by it, rather than following the fucking guy who's just butchering people.
That's a good point, actually, about why it's like a better true crime overall picture.
Mm-hmm. That's what I hated. There was like another, I think it was a Netflix series, but it was like a Jack the Ripper copycat killer, and same fucking shit. Like he self-inserted himself in the case and was like early on was like ruled out as a suspect for like some dumbass reason, and then ended up being the guy the whole time. And it's like come on, man. Like, I mean, I get for this movie, it's like you guys said, emerging technology. It's like there's probably like the first string of serial killers, so they don't even really know what's happening on like a psycho kind of level, like yeah. So it's like I'm sure those were some of the hurdles, but no, I think. I mean, the research speaks for itself in this one, and David Fincher is definitely like the guy to make something like this. So,
and he's basically telling you who he thinks it is. I'd say, like he's giving you his theory. I'd say at the end there.
Yeah, I kind of want to read
Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's be honest.
Right. That's the book. That's the author of the Zodiac book. I kind of want to get that to read just to see.
Dude, I love how Jake Gyllenhaal's character too is just like the fucking cartoon guy. For
Don't you have a cartoon to finish?
Just loves puzzles.
They're so good.
Yeah,
dude, and it was crazy that like the 3 books that he checked out from the library, like he looked into that further, and they were just like gone from all these other libraries. Like, yeah, I thought that was pretty wild.
Yeah, it is.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say just because I love this movie for what it is, and like weirdly 7 was the first one I watched the Finchers, and then this was the second one, and they're both just fucking tops, man. They're fucking good.
I have another note of just like I'm trying to get behind Fincher's filmmaking mindset. And he's very composed, obviously, very smart guy, very reined in, I'd say, mostly. But then he has these uses of CGI that I find to be kind of like bold, or like I wouldn't think he would be about that because it maybe doesn't look perfect or something, like I thought the building montage where it's like time-lapsing the building getting built.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. That's like he uses like tiny moments like that.
I did notice that like specifically though. I'm like, why is the day is not changing as quickly as the building is being built?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, I guess, in just like a shot sense.
All the blood is CGI too. I don't know. All of the blood was
interesting.
Really.
And then like the overhead taxi shot, obviously fucking sick, but. Those are all like completely computer generated. I think. I don't know. It's just like I respect his decision to try stuff like that because I wouldn't really think he's the guy to go for like CGI or fake shit or something. Like So as long as he did it in the Panic Room a couple times. He was like testing it out to see if it like fidelity or whatever. But I don't know. I was just gonna note. I was like he uses CGI in smart little instances.
Two giant dragons fighting each other or anything.
Yeah, not a giant ass fucking soundstage with zero fucking heart.
Yeah. But other than that, like I said, great movie. I don't know if I'm going to be rewatching it as often after this watch. That's just my flavor I got after it. Yeah. But great movie.
Definitely a great movie. 4.5 still for me.
Yeah, I was like this close to going to 5, but I don't think it's not perfect. Like you said, there's some like lows just in the pacing where I was just like, let's keep it, moving along here.
I think I'll probably put it 4.5, but I think 7 is still my top of David Fincher. But this was close. Like this is my number 2. I think
for sure. I think that's about where I land as of right now. We'll see what the heart says.
Yeah, I guess we still got a lot more to go. So like, but I feel like these are probably his 2 best. But I could be wrong.
Well, he's got
just heavy hitters.
Just you wait.
What is next?
Dip,
actually,
I think though, because it's.
Have you guys seen Benjamin
I
Button?
actually have never seen this.
No.
I've seen this one. So
I've fallen asleep.
I mean, I know like the premise, kind of, but that's
Mhm.
really it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt again, though.
Hell
Yeah.
Yeah, back to Brad.
Love
That's
me some
nice.
Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Go on a long journey for that movie next week too. It's kind of a long one, but it'll be a fun talk, I think, for that one too. So
Decent.
Yeah.
And maybe just put a cap on what you guys were saying earlier about Dirty Harry. I didn't know this. I just looked this up. But Fincher grew up in the Bay Area, and like
makes sense.
at the time it was happening, yeah. And then
Holy
saw Dirty
fuck,
Harry
dude.
and fucking hated the way Dirty Harry did it. So that's why he went.
So that was Dirty Harry though.
Yeah.
Where it was like
I
supposed
thought.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most significant cinematic take on the Zodiac was Dirty Harry, and
Wow.
Clint Eastwood's pursuit of him. And
I
he did
feel
not
like that is what solidifies like my mindset for thinking that this is actually like very well thought out, like based on true
Yeah.
events. Like I can trust this movie to give me I can trust that this information is correct, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's kind of giving it shade already on like the
Yeah.
untruth of it all.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool. I mean,
No, but if you're into true crime, like we said, this is top notch.
Definitely.
Check it out.
for sure.
Yeah, some good shit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week with The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. See you then.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't
Yeah,
already.
smash that like button.
Leave a
Comment back.
comment.